coming back here, I always thought it was very beautiful, very colourful place with very unique surroundings and settings, very unspoilt, as everyone keeps saying. It's just really nice to be back, really, just to kind of and with a purpose as well, to take some photographs and things. So probably the best bits have been kind of going to, well, I mean, for instance, like last night and the night before, going into the Gypsy Bar. It's just a very kind of unique experience, and I feel quite lucky to have been kind of a part of it, I suppose.
I wanted to do something different this summer, and I'd never been to Romania, and I thought Transylvania is somewhere that I probably would never get the opportunity to go to. So it's been a really special trip. I just love the landscape. I love the fact that there are no fences. That's really just the way the land just kind of rolls.
Of course, I read the programme and read about all the authors that were going to be present here. And I really discovered Romania through these authors. You know, I didn't actually do any kind of research about the history or anything. I just read the books that I knew, you know, some of the authors would be. I think Romania actually is a very well-kept secret. One of the things that draws me to it is that rural, you know, kind of, it's almost another time. It hasn't, you know, it's stayed this, you know, as you can see here on the left, and I think I saw someone scything yesterday. Who knows, maybe I will love to get a house here one day.
It's so sad to see their houses with the family names written up at the top, and to know that they're either empty. I learned about Transylvania first of all by coming here under Ceausescu, and I haven't been back since then. That was 1989. Now that I've come back after all these years and found this transformation.
Like what changed?
The look in the eye. It's free, open. People look and smile. They didn't when I was here last. They can do as they please. They may be poor, but they are free. It would be dangerous if it were the same as what one reads in books, because it wouldn't be real. That's the difference. The reality is very precarious. We come here because of a dream, but life can't be sustained in a dream.
Früher, auch das kann ich irgendwie, es war für uns etwas ganz Normales in diesem Dorf. zu leben, etwas ganz Normales. Tags in die Arbeit gehen, alle waren wir gleich und wir spürten es gar nicht, dass wir irgendwie Sachsen sind. Heute müssen wir spüren, wir sind unter ganz fremdsprachigen Leuten, müssen uns durchschlagen. Alle Leute haben ihre Kultur und ich meine, es ist schwer, die eigene Kultur zu bewahren. Sachsen in Siebenbürgen wurden sehr, sehr stark gequält, enteignet, nach Russland deportiert, hatten nicht mehr das Recht, sich zu verteidigen, sonst wurde man zusammengeschlagen. Das alles hat dazu geführt, dass die Sachsen sagten, wir haben hier keine Zukunft mehr. Und das war dann. Ich meine, ein bisschen hat auch die D-Mark dabei eine Rolle gespielt. So ist es dann nach 90. Unsere Jugend hatte schon lange darauf gewartet, einmal frei zu sein. Und als die Grenzen frei waren, gab es keinen anderen Ausgang als Auswandern.
What happened subsequently is that over the years, of course, collectivization, which means their land was taken, and instead of working their own land, they got used to be sort of state employees, working for the farm, which then incorporated their land. They got a meager salary, a bit of agricultural produce. Gradually, they lost the habit of working, owning and working their own land. Their children, their young children, becoming adults, have to find work. You have to work, and the only employer was the state. If you didn't have work, you were a parasite. You could be rounded up, you could end up in trouble. So they went and worked in the factories, like the ones in Medias. Again, that meant a loss of the traditional way of living for the Saxons. The wives also were not anymore no land to be tied, stayed at home or went to work for factories as well. Other East European countries, like Poland, for which, after all, Britain had gone to war with Germany, were not spared this situation, although they were not part of this napkin agreement. So then, after the war, the Soviets said, wait a minute, all these Germans from Romania who also fought against us and caused us tremendous damage should pay by being deported to the Soviet Union to work as laborers and reconstruct the country. So this is how deportation started immediately after the war in Romania, of Germans who were rounded up, all those who were of working age, men and women were transported there. And that was a great tragedy because it was probably the biggest exodus of population in Europe in history.
At the end of 1943, the RAF dropped them miles from the target. So they were arrested and taken to Bucharest. But the Antonescu, they were treated as friends all the way. When they were arrested in the truck, the peasants brought food to them while they were waiting, and everyone said, oh, no, English, you see. And then they were in the gendarmerie headquarters. And Antonescu, and this is rather a diversion linear, Antonescu sent them a message to say that he would protect them. And Manu had gone and taken responsibility, the leader of the National Peasant Party, had gone to Antonescu to take responsibility for them, and they agreed.
I'm just a Jewish girl, I was a Jewish girl, Romanian, who had a few stories and I remember them from my house. In 1996, my parents tried to escape Romania starting 50 and something. At this time there was a gentleman called Jacober who had a deal between Israel and the Romanian. Every Jew was paid $5,000. But of course, as you said before, they were priorities. and apparently my family was not a priority. In the meantime, my father died. He was an anti-communist that you cannot have more. And my mother, in 61, with my aunt and my cousin, we were 2 women, there was 2 girls, we were around 16, were given the permission to leave Romania. On those days, people were not living directly to Israel, they were living through other countries. So we were given the permission, we bought our train tickets to Paris, and from Paris we were taken care by the Jewish organization to arrive to Israel. We are not allowed to take anything except 20 kilos per person, only clothes, nothing else. No photograph, no nothing.
When I was walking over the hills trying to find somewhere to live. And I feel it gives a sort of feeling of the great sense of anticipation, optimism, looking forward to the blue mountains beyond, which are in America, that's the Marrakesh. And then, but still always passing, I've got so many pictures of people with clothes on, at least with clothes, because I always just couldn't believe it. Everything handmade. And this is the sort of, this is just to give a flavour of the sort of things that I was seeing when I was there the whole time. And the architecture completely wooden and of stone. And the old lady said, "Are you hungry?" I said, "I'm famished." And she milked the goat immediately afterwards, while I was still on the bed, into the bowl. And then she got a spoon and put some mamaliga, some polenta into it, and that was my supper, and I was very happy again. And here you have there are 3 or 4 pictures which show that very clearly. The chickens in the basket, agricultural life, everyone involved, young and old, shearing the harmless sheep. This is the building of a rick. You have to plunge the centre pole into the earth, that's what he's doing, plunging it up and down until it sticks, and then you build the rick around it. This is the mill. This machine, the local distillery, which of course is made by gypsies, the copper. There he is again, now he's driving my sleigh. These are the coppersmiths who make those distilleries.
Transylvania, the land beyond the woods, the land of Romanians, Saxons, Swabians, as we heard today. We haven't so much heard of them until this morning. Armenians, Jews, Hungarians, Sekeri, and others, Slovakians, Serbians. It's such an incredible mélange of people. Can you imagine anything more different than an ordered Saxon and a wild gypsy? And yet they've all lived here together for hundreds of years. How can that have happened? Perhaps music played a part. It was certainly one of the elements in binding them together, as it has been in binding the world together since time began.
This think with Transylvania, of course, you're so lucky here because you've got two great writers of the 20th century. You've had Gregor von Redzore, who is actually well known in the UK and in the States, his writings not so well known here. Miklos Banfi, his trilogy, I think, is one of the most thrilling writings, again, of the 20th century. And what a very interesting, extraordinary, highly intelligent, broadly intelligent
Those
man.
of you who are unfamiliar with his story, was a diplomat, an MP, and the Hungarian foreign minister who signed a peace treaty with America, which led to Hungary being admitted to the League of Nations after the First World War. In Transylvania, he set up a small independent publishing house to encourage the work of young Hungarian writers living here.
Well, my mother told us that we had a very famous grandfather, and because we were living in this international city called Tangier, where there were many languages spoken, nobody ever had heard of Miklos Banfi. Nobody even knew where was Hungary. It was in the 60s, it was the full time of the Iron Curtain. And we had my mother on one side saying how famous this lovely castle we had, and there was no trace of it. Only a few photos, faded out photos in an album. My mother's glittering picnics on the Somosh next to the Bonsidor, and you could see peering through the leaves, those towers, faded out. And it was like a dream, and then slowly, like you adjust the objective of the camera, this reality started taking shape. So the first memories I have of this translation, sheets of paper with rusty paper clips and fly droppings, and some of the cats, did their claws on the edge. She gave me one chapter that I tried to read when I was 15, but it bored me. I couldn't measure what it was, but at the time it was so immaterial. Why? I never thought to show it to anybody but my children. To my delight, Patrick found it fascinating as I did, and offered to correct my faulty English. We worked on it for nearly 8 years without ever quarreling. Amazing. When it was ready, Patrick spoke of finding a publisher for it in England. He was familiar with the publishing circles, yet he had much trouble finding one who was willing to take the risk. This was understandable. My father's name, Miklos Banfi, was unknown in English literary circles. He was a foreigner, he was a dead author, and the size of the trilogy was huge, so that the risk of its publication was great, and the cost enormous. Finally, he found one, Arcadia, who was accepting the risk involved, and the success was immediate. The papers wrote with exultant praise about the book, comparing it to Lampedusa, Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, Proust, Victor Hugo. It was the revelation of the decade.
You've lost so much, the castle in Bonsidor. How is this rebirth of the Banfi name?
Well, the fact of already coming back as if I already had been there on the first place, but to coming for the first time to Transylvania, to see the colors, the vegetation, the earth, I felt I belonged here. I could take a bit of earth and eat it.
When I became interested in Transylvania, was somebody whose works were enormous inspiration to me. He was the ultimate glamorous figure He had film-star looks. He spoke about 10 languages perfectly.
Romania for him was epitome of beauty and what is called, he liked the language very much. I remember something that he was singing in the morning, a refrain, certainly very lightweight. He would say, I come from Transylvania where love is such a man. I think he picked it up from some, I don't know, some operette or something like that. There is a stone that tells Gregor writer, born in Chernobyl. So Chernobyl did not exist. It's one of the names that he invited for his novels, was in fact translated in Romanian. It's called, how do you say in English, Hermine, is the man, is the animal who can easily get dirty and die. Yes. And so it maybe is resting in a place of fantasy, a place that is only in his mind. But it's certainly in the mind of many people and mine. And he would be highly amusing. I miss him terribly because I can imagine how delighted it would be to see me here. When he died, I was left with this big house, which is used to be a farm. It's nothing very grand. But what is grand is the landscape, which is absolutely intact. And there are a lot of woods. And those woods remember him of Romania. This is what he needed. You know, when we became serious and we decided to get married, I thought that we needed the woods around us in order to make a marriage a marriage. So when he, and we all the time, I wouldn't call it entertaining, but we were visited by people who would stay and stay and stay. Like Bruce, for instance, he stayed for months. He had to write another chapter. I'm talking about Bruce's chapter. And so I thought that I should continue with that. And so it became slightly more legal, and it became another foundation. And I do invite writer for a period of 6 months so that they can do really a huge chunk of work.
It was a natural presentation of both these men, along with Paddy Lee Fermer, the rather celebrated Englishman who walked that famous walk in the 30s, very, very romantic, discussing the landscapes, and then ended up, of course, a great war hero. I mean, he was a multifaceted man.
If anyone was blessed by the gods, it was Patrick Lee Fermer. Born with Byronic good looks, intelligence and talent, he also had the luck of the devil. One reviewer pointed out that it was a miracle that he lived to the age of 96, since he had survived and dodged so many assaults on his life that he made Rasputin look like a quitter. Men respected him as a war hero, women found him irresistible, everyone admired his encyclopedic knowledge, and almost all his books won prizes. And if that's not enough to make you boil with resentment, there's more. All his life, Paddy had the gift of making people feel happier, funnier, and better read than they'd ever suspected. As one of his old friends put it, if only Paddy came in pill form so you could take one whenever you felt depressed. Now, he lived with such intensity and packed his days so full of people and books and travels and stories that perhaps he didn't write quite as much as he should have done. But on the strength of what he did produce, Jan Morris and Bruce Chatwin both hailed him as the greatest travel writer of his generation.
Paddy's journey through Romania, as through Hungary and Slovakia, was marked by these leisurely, lengthy sojourns in country houses with Hungarian aristocrats and landowners. He stumbled quite by chance, really, into a life of picnics and parties and after-breakfast cigars and bicycle polo on the lawn and smoking pipes with archdukes. His writing captured the last days of this kind of rose-tinted era. This aristocratic culture seemed to be annihilated by war and by communism. And I knew these country houses were important to my walk. They seemed like these very potent, visible symbols of change, of this upheaval that swept through Central and Eastern Europe. Monuments to an extinct culture. The first one I came to was at a place called Mokria, that Paddy knew as Mokra, and in Magyar. And like many of these ex-country houses, I saw it being nationalised, it had been turned into a psychiatric hospital. The corridors had been stripped, sanitised, everything had been painted hospital green and covered with likeable surfaces. Very little of the original interior remained, but the outside was pretty much the same.
I suppose I could have chosen Romanians who were born in Transylvania. As for someone like Claudiu Cormatan, of course he is Romanian, but I think his poetry is wonderful. And he works in this very interesting way with Stephen Watts, who I met at a London book festival. So that was the reason behind that. I thought they would be very, very good, which they were. I thought it was incredibly exciting.
Și dacă ar trebui să-ți amintești.
And if you were to remember,
dintre toate zilele, una singură.
Of all the days, only one.
Când corpul se credea suflet.
When the body thought itself a soul.
Auzisem ceva de un sânge.
I'd heard something of blood.
Se răsese în cap, făcuse multă liniște.
The head was shaved, peace settled.
Compulsia lui pentru frumusețe.
His compulsion for beauty.
Suferința intermitentă.
Intermittent suffering.
Lumină întreruptă de dinți.
Light forestalled by teeth.
E o experiență înnoitoare. Să traduci înseamnă să aduci în limba ta textele altora, încercând să fii cât mai fidel, dar în același timp îmbogățești mereu prin experiența pe care o aduci și prin contextul lingvistic și cultural din care provii. Mi-am dorit să traduc din momentul în care am început să scriu. Cu traducerea poeziei nu prea se mai îndeletnicesc în ziua de astăzi decât, sau cu preponderență, poeții.
It was great to see them in Romanian and to hear them in Romanian as well. And because I'm also a translator, I do a lot of translating, I understand the importance, the need of for translation. So I was very happy, really happy.
And I don't know if any of you know a book by Mark Mazar called The Balkans. I know we're not in it, but it's about Eastern European images as recycled by Western European authorities and how they're refracted into literary and historical assumptions. And I think Stoker's great novel takes part in this tradition because it is inauthentically related to all sorts of Romanian images. The great castle of Bran, which has nothing to do even with Vlad the Impaler, much less with Dracula, is forever being shown, as you know, as Dracula's castle. The exoticism of these territories on the margins of the declining empires of Ottoman Turkey or Habsburgs was exploited long before Stoker turned his attention to them. They had become bywords for Western ideas of superstition, lawlessness, and a particular propensity to violence. Now, of course, you could say exactly the same of Ireland, also taken as a byword for the 19th century as the crucible of lawlessness, superstition, and violence. Stoker studied this stuff. He knew Lady Wilde, he possessed her books. And when Dracula raises Irish echoes, to my ear at least, they are those of fairy and folklore. As where Jonathan Harker, setting off in the caleche from the Borgo Pass to the Countess Castle, realizes he is in fact involved in a circular journey driven by a fairy coachman, as in so many Irish enchanted travels. And I'm trying to take Dracula away from Transylvania in this paper, but I have to say, those of us who were in the minibus last night, on our way back to Manor Craft, this may sound familiar. The carriage went at a hard pace straight along. Then we made a complete turn and went along another straight road. It seemed to me that we were simply going over the same ground again. And so I took note of some salient point and found that this was so. I would have liked to ask the driver what this all meant, but I really feared to do so, for I thought that placed as I was, any protest would have had no effect in case there had been an intention to delay. By the by, however, as I was curious to know how time was passing, I struck a match, and by its flame I looked at my watch, which was within a few minutes of midnight. I also think it gives a good example. I'm sorry for the local references here, but it gives a good example of Stoker's, I think, very sharp, inflected, impressive prose when he was writing these accounts.
Well, what I see is mostly always when you enter a village where there is a sign of the European Union, the blue thing with the yellow stars, and they gave money, 9 of the 10 cases it means they destroyed the village, because in the middle of the village is a huge building and it's painted, it's 2 or 3 stocks high and it's painted yellow or orange. And I think Transylvania has to capture and to keep the beauty, because I think there is an incredible future for Transylvania in this beauty of the villages and the beauty of the agriculture and the beauty of the nature. I think in a few years everybody in Europe wants to be here for his holidays. And I think when you build such ugly buildings, you destroy it.
It's been a real eye-opener. It's been fascinating to see things that one would have found for oneself with some difficulty, and to enjoy them and to learn about them with other people. That's been a great pleasure, getting to know other people whilst getting to know this part of the world. It was very brave of Lucy Abel-Smith to organise this festival. It was an incredibly difficult thing to do. It had never happened before. And it's been a triumph. Everybody who's been here, I think, feels that it's less of a festival than a festa.
It's one of the most beautiful parts of Europe I'd ever been in, and I've travelled all over Central Europe and the Balkans. And this was the last of the great European medieval landscapes and village-scapes left, and is on a razor edge of disappearing. I wanted to capture the grandeur of this country. She just laid an egg.
Okay. So, can you
I wanted to capture the grandeur of this country, and its beauty and its intellect. Show it to the English-speaking world, and vice versa, if you like. I hope I have provided a programme of people and speakers of such a wide range within Transylvania that it has given people a much greater understanding of this remarkable country.